The rain pounded the cobblestone streets of Verona, Illinois, a small town where dreams clung to the edges of cornfields and sunsets bled gold. In a dimly lit diner, the kind with cracked vinyl booths and a jukebox stuck on Elvis, two souls collided in a moment that would rewrite their stars. Elliot Grayson, with his tousled chestnut hair and eyes like a stormy sea, was the town's golden boy. A volunteer firefighter, a listener to old folk stories, a man who'd carry a stranger's groceries through a downpour without a second thought. His heart was a lighthouse, steady and warm, guiding others home. But tonight, it flickered with frustration. He sat at the counter, nursing a coffee gone cold, his jaw tight after a heated argument with his crew about a risky rescue plan he'd championed. They'd called him reckless, but Elliot saw only the faces they hadn't saved. Across the diner, Nora Callahan stormed in, her auburn curls dripping wet, her leather jacket clinging to her shoulders. She was a photographer, a wanderer with a camera slung around her neck, capturing truths others missed. Her sharp wit and fiercer heart made her both magnetic and untouchable. She'd come to Verona to document its fading charm for a magazine, but the town's stubborn pride, and its people, grated on her nerves. Tonight, she was fuming. Her editor had just slashed her deadline, demanding the impossible. Their eyes met when Nora, distracted, bumped into a waiter, sending a tray of dishes crashing. The diner froze. Elliot, ever the hero, leapt to help, but Nora snapped, "I've got it!" Her voice was a blade, cutting through the hum of chatter. Elliot raised an eyebrow, kneeling to pick up a shattered plate. "Didn't look like it," he said, his tone teasing but kind. "Don't play knight in shining armor," she shot back, her green eyes flashing. "I don't need saving." "And I don't need attitude," Elliot replied, standing, his smile disarming yet defiant. The air crackled, not with anger but with something electric, something neither could name. The diner's patrons whispered, sensing a story unfolding. That night, a fight sparked a flame, one that would burn through their defenses and light up their lives. Over the next week, fate threw them together like moths to a flame. Verona's annual Harvest Festival was approaching, and Elliot, as always, was roped into organizing. Nora, assigned to photograph the event, found herself trailing him, her lens catching his easy laugh with kids, his quiet strength hauling hay bales, his unguarded moments staring at the horizon. She hated how he made her feel, seen, unsettled, alive. One evening, under a sky bruised purple, they clashed again. Nora, perched on a fence, was snapping photos of the festival's Ferris wheel when Elliot approached, carrying a crate of apples. "You ever stop working?" he asked, setting the crate down. "You ever stop meddling?" she retorted, lowering her camera. "Not everyone needs your hero complex." His jaw tightened, but his voice softened. "Maybe I'm not trying to save you. Maybe I just see you." Nora froze. No one had ever said that. Not her editors, who saw her as a deadline machine. Not her family, who called her dreams reckless. She turned away, hiding the tremor in her hands. "You don't know me," she whispered. "Then let me," Elliot said, stepping closer. His voice was a low tide, pulling her in. For a moment, they stood there, the festival's lights swirling around them, the world fading to a heartbeat. But Nora, scared of her own heart, walked away. The turning point came on a stormy night, the kind that rattled windows and souls. A fire broke out at the old mill, its flames licking the sky. Elliot, on duty, led the charge, but the blaze was merciless. Nora, covering the story, arrived with her camera, her heart pounding as she saw Elliot disappear into the smoke. Hours later, when the fire was tamed, Elliot emerged, soot-streaked and coughing, carrying an elderly worker to safety. Nora's lens captured it all. His courage, his exhaustion, the way he looked back at the flames, haunted by those he couldn't save. She ran to him, dropping her camera, her walls crumbling. "You idiot," she choked, her voice breaking. "You could have died." He looked at her, eyes raw. "But I didn't. And I'd do it again." "Why?" she demanded, tears mixing with rain. "Because it's who I am," he said simply. "And because I want to be someone you'd stay for." Nora's breath caught. In that moment, under the weeping sky, she saw him, not the hero, but the man. The one who fought for others, who saw her sharp edges and didn't flinch. She stepped forward, and before she could stop herself, she kissed him. It was fierce, desperate, a collision of two hearts too stubborn to surrender. The rain fell harder, but they didn't care. They were a storm of their own. Their love bloomed like wildflowers after a fire, vibrant, unstoppable. Nora stayed in Verona, her photographs now telling stories of hope, not just decay. Elliot opened up about his fears, his losses, finding solace in her unflinching honesty. They fought, over her late nights, his reckless bravery, but every argument ended in laughter, in promises whispered under starlit skies. Yet fate, ever cruel, had one last twist. A year later, Nora was offered her dream job, a global photography project, 6 months abroad. It was everything she'd ever wanted, but it meant leaving Elliot, leaving Verona. She stood in their favorite spot by the river, her heart tearing. "I can't ask you to wait," she said, her voice trembling. Elliot took her hands, his eyes steady. "You're not asking. I'm choosing. I'll wait, Nora. Forever, if I have to." She left, her heart a tangled mess of love and fear. Months passed, each letter from Elliot a lifeline, each photo she took a piece of him she carried. But doubt crept in. Could love survive distance? Could she be enough for someone so selfless? The final twist came on a crisp autumn night, the harvest festival in full swing. Nora, back in Verona, stood at the edge of the crowd, her return a secret. She'd finished her project early, her heart pulling her home. The Ferris wheel spun, its lights painting the sky, and there was Elliot, on a makeshift stage, holding a microphone. His voice, usually so steady, shook. "This is for someone who changed me," he said, his eyes searching the crowd. "Nora, if you're out there. I fought for you once, and I'll fight forever. Marry me." The crowd gasped, turning, and Nora's heart stopped. She pushed through, tears streaming, until she reached him. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "yes." The crowd erupted, but all she saw was Elliot, his smile brighter than the stars. He slipped a simple ring on her finger, and they kissed, the world spinning around them like a cinematic reel. Years later, they stood in that same diner, now theirs, its walls lined with Nora's photos. Moments of Verona, of them, of a love that started with a fight and ended in forever. Their daughter, Lily, played nearby, her laughter a melody. Elliot still saved lives, Nora still chased truths, but together they were home. To you, dear viewers, this is more than a story. It's a reminder that love is messy, fierce, and worth every fight. If this touched your heart, hit that like button, share it with someone who believes in forever, and subscribe to Endless Love Story for more tales that make every second magical. Watch till the very end, because love, like life, is unpredictable and unforgettable.